Look at a newborn baby. Helpless, useless. A human baby cannot even hold up its own head for months. We show up completely dependent, more helpless than any other animal that has ever existed on this planet. Biology tells us why. It is called the obstetric dilemma. Our brains got bigger faster than our birth canals could keep up. Evolution was trying to make us smarter and keep us upright at the same time. The pelvis got caught in the middle. So we are born early. We arrive as a blank slate, a fresh hard drive waiting for the first line of code. No names, no skills, no memories. We call this the beginning. But for some, the drive isn't empty. Sometimes it is already full. Think about your own childhood. You lived an entire life before the age of 3. You were born. You tasted food. You took your first steps. And you remember none of it. Not a single moment. Scientists call this infantile amnesia. Most people think the brain just wasn't ready to record. But that is a lie. Your baby brain was recording everything. It just couldn't move those memories into long-term storage. The hippocampus, the engine of memory, is underdeveloped. The connections are still being built. But the strangest part is what happens next. The very process that builds your brain is also what destroys your memories. It is called neurogenesis, an explosion of new neurons. They wire up the circuits you will use for the rest of your life. But as they integrate, they disrupt the old connections. They overwrite the data. Your brain keeps building new rooms and tearing down the old walls. By the time you are 4, the you that existed at age 2 is gone, physically disassembled, rebuilt, neuron by neuron. But in 1998, a boy named James Leininger was born in Louisiana. At first, he was normal. He hit his milestones. He played with toy planes. But then, the amnesia failed. Around the age of 2, the nightmares started. Screaming, kicking. He wasn't dreaming about monsters. He was dreaming about a cockpit. Airplane crash. On fire. Little man can't get out. He would say it over and over. His parents were confused. He was a toddler. He had never seen a war movie. He had never been to an air show. But he knew things he shouldn't know. He told his mother he flew a plane called a Corsair. He said it used to get flat tires. He told his father he took off from a boat called the Natoma. His father, a rational man, looked it up. He found the USS Natoma Bay, a small escort carrier in the Pacific during World War II. He found a pilot who died on March 3, 1945. His name was James Houston Jr. He was 21 years old. He flew a Corsair. He died exactly the way the boy described. A hit to the engine, a ball of fire, the plane crashing into the ocean. Little man couldn't get out. Think about that for a second. A 2-year-old child identifying a specific person on a specific ship at a specific coordinate in history. This is what scientists call a case of the reincarnation type. And it isn't just James. At the University of Virginia, a team of researchers has spent 60 years studying this. The Division of Perceptual Studies. They have a database of over 2,500 cases, children from all over the world. India, Thailand, Lebanon, the United States. All of them follow the same pattern. They start talking between ages 2 and 4. They describe a previous life. They name people. They name places. And in about 70% of the cases, the researchers find a deceased person who matches the description perfectly. Usually, the death was violent. Usually, it happened recently. The average time between the death and the new birth is about 16 months. By the age of 7, the memories usually fade. The new brain finally wins. The amnesia finally takes hold. The walls are finished being built. But why? How does a biological machine, the brain, carry information from a body that no longer exists? Mainstream biology has no answer. It shouldn't be possible. Memory is physical. It is stored in the synapses. It is encoded in the neurons. When the body dies, the hardware is destroyed. The data should go with it. But these cases suggest something else, something that should shake the scientific world. It is the same feeling Francis Crick had in 1973, the man who won the Nobel Prize for decoding DNA. He looked at the speed of life on Earth and said, "I don't think this adds up." He proposed directed panspermia, the idea that life was seeded from somewhere else. He was a serious scientist asking an uncomfortable question, because sometimes the evidence is hard to dismiss. Look at the case of Ryan Hammons, a 5-year-old in Oklahoma. He told his mother he wanted to go home to Hollywood. He pointed to a photo in a book of a 1932 movie called Night After Night. He pointed to an extra, a man with no lines, a man with no name in the credits. "That's me," he said. "I was that man." His mother contacted a film archivist. They identified the man, Marty Martin, a Hollywood agent who died in 1964. The boy, Ryan, provided 55 specific details about Marty's life. He knew how many sisters he had. He knew he had worked in Paris. He knew the color of his car. He even corrected the death certificate. The certificate said Marty died at age 59. The boy said he was 61. The researchers checked the census records. The boy was right. The death certificate was wrong. How does a toddler in Oklahoma know the age of an obscure Hollywood agent from the 1960s? It feels like a feature you'd find in a species that's out of place, conscious enough to sense something is wrong, but unable to figure out what. Maybe our brains aren't hard drives. Maybe they are receivers, like a radio. When the radio is smashed, the music doesn't die. The signal is still in the air. It just needs a new receiver. But this raises a terrifying question. If you can remember being someone else, who are you? Are you the narrator inside your head right now? The you that uses language to organize your days. Language doesn't just describe memories, it structures them. It gives memory a skeleton. Without it, experiences are like water with no container. They exist in the moment, then they're gone. Your self is a story you tell yourself using words. But the boy who remembers a past life isn't using your story. He is using a story that belongs to a dead man. Think about your ancestors. For 3 million years, they struggled to survive. They scavenged bone marrow. They ate brains to fuel their own. They lived in a world where every calorie was a victory. They didn't have time for existential crises. They didn't lie awake wondering what happens after death. They were too busy trying not to die. But we do, all of us. We are the only species walking around with the full awareness that one day we will stop existing. And we can't stand it. We build temples, we write philosophies, we create entire civilizations organized around the question of what happens when we die. Maybe that restlessness isn't a flaw. Maybe it's a clue. Every other species on this planet exists in balance, except us. We take the ecosystem apart. We act like an invasive species, something dropped onto a planet it wasn't built for. We burn in our own sunlight. Our spines are falling apart. We are poorly adapted to Earth. Mismatch theory says we just moved too fast. We went from sharpened rocks to nuclear weapons in a geological blink, from cave paintings to artificial intelligence. Nothing in the history of life has ever accelerated like that. Nothing even comes close. Could the speed of our evolution be linked to this signal? If we are stacking knowledge across generations, not just through books and teaching, but through something deeper? Most scientists say no. They say it is evolutionary mismatch. They say the boy's memories are false memories or coincidence, but almost certainly is not definitely. And when real researchers look at the evidence and say something doesn't add up, that's not conspiracy talk. That's just science asking the uncomfortable questions. If the reincarnation cases are real, then the you in the mirror is just the latest version, a prototype that hasn't gotten its final update. You are a mind that has been disassembled and rebuilt 1,000 times, neuron by neuron. And the black hole of your first 3 years isn't a failure of your brain. It is a safety feature. The brain destroys the person who came before so you can become who you are now. It clears the drive. It tears down the old walls. It gives you a chance to start fresh. But the drive is never truly empty. The ghost of the old data is still there. In the nightmares, in the unexplainable fears, in the feeling that you've been here before. At 11 p.m., when you open the fridge even though you're not hungry, you're running a 3-million-year-old program. Still scanning, still trying to keep you alive. And maybe, when a child screams about an airplane on fire, they are running a 50-year-old program, a signal that didn't get deleted. We are the strangest thing this planet has ever produced, a species that can't stop looking at the sky, wondering where it really came from. If we are from here, we are a glitch in evolution. And if we are not from here, we have been trying to find our way home for 200,000 years, and we don't even know it. We are just kids, waking up in a cockpit we don't remember building, screaming because the little man can't get out, until the amnesia finally kicks in, and we forget until the next time.